All right, and welcome everybody to Music City Trop Rock. Thank you for joining me once again this week. Tonight we have the multi-talented singer-songwriter and, might I add, the amazing singer and co-founder of Drop Dead Dangerous, Miss Kitty Steadman. We're going to bring her on in just a minute. I'm going to do some Trop Rock news real quick. And so we like to talk about things that are going on around Music City first. But first we have the Trop Rock Music Association is sending out their voting email coming out August 1st. So if you're a member of the TRMA, be sure to look out for that voting email and get those votes out for your favorite artists, songs, venues, videos, all that kind of stuff is coming up. And that award ceremony will be at Meeting of the Minds in Gulf Shores this October. If you're not planning on coming to that, that's a cool deal. Also, the next item on our news, it features our guest tonight, Miss Kitty Steadman, will be August 1st. We'll be in Nashville at Mike Todd's house concert. Looking forward to going to that. That's going to be on Friday night. I will be there. And I just saw this today later on at Mike Todd's. Also, Erica Sunshine Lee will be there September 23rd. So if you're not a member of the Music City Fins, you can look them up on Facebook and get in touch with Kevin Carson's, and you'll get invites to all kind of stuff like this going around Nashville, and you'll be able to come out and be a part of it. Also, September 15th at Homegrown Tap Room, we've got Will Kimbrough coming back to Homegrown. He was there last year, did a great show. He's so talented, such a great guitar player and great storyteller. That's September 15th. If you get a chance to come out and see that at Homegrown Tap Room. Also, something interesting we got going on in Music City right now is the Nashville Beach Country Series, and that's going on every Thursday out at Shipwreck Cove at Elm Hill Marina. Kind of a tongue twister, but it is hosted by Tom Shepard, and every Thursday night they have a different artist do a little songwriter deal for a couple hours, and I believe it's going to be broadcast live on Dockside Live Radio. So if you're in the area on Thursday night, want to check that out, be sure to come out and check that out. Then, of course, coming up in August, we have our Music City Fin Fests, our Trop Rock, our inaugural Trop Rock Music Festival coming to Nashville. It is August 15th, 16th, and 17th. On the Friday night, the 15th, we have a pontoon cruise on the Cumberland River, but I believe that's sold out. And then there's going to be music all day on Saturday, starting, I think, at noon at the park. What's the name of the park? Here we go. It's called the Outfield in Wedgwood. And then Sunday, there is a brunch songwriter showcase with James Slater, and Bridget Tatum will be there, along with a few other people, I believe. But yeah, a lot of great artists going to be there in Nashville this August. If you're around or coming to town, I think it's really picking up some steam. I think we're going to have a pretty good crowd. All right, that's going to wrap up Trop Rock news for us. So we're going to go ahead and bring Kitty on. Are you ready, Kitty?
I'm ready. Hello.
Hey, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Good, good. Thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen this, but I have a question that I ask all of my guests. I had a different question the first season. This is season 2, episode 7.
Okay.
So I got to hold this up and I'll ask it at the same time. Kitty, do you believe that aliens will invade Earth?
Um, no. I mean, like, I'm just not going to be surprised anymore at whatever happens. That's my rule of thumb. Just stay prepared to have to keep from getting prepared.
All right, so I'm gonna put you down as a yes. Was that fair?
Yeah, I would believe it if it happened, but I don't really think it's going to happen.
So I'm putting you down as a no. You're kind of show me when it happens kind of girl, I think.
I think, yeah, I am.
All right, Kitty, tell us where you're originally from and where you're calling home now.
So I grew up on Long Island, New York, and I lived there until the summer I turned 17. I moved here to Nashville, and that was with intention and success, I guess, in going to Nashville High School of the Arts, so I could get in-state tuition at colleges here in Nashville because I knew I wanted to come to Tennessee. So Tennessee has been home for 14 years as of August 3rd.
Awesome. I know we'll talk about Drop Dead Dangerous in a minute, but
Yeah,
I want to start. Let's go back to the beginning. I think I read in your bio somewhere that you started playing guitar at age 14.
that's
So
true.
do you remember like what spawned your interest in that?
Oh, that was a long time coming. So I have this joke I say that music runs in my family like a disease. So just about every Steadman sings in some capacity, and like we are the family that sat around and sang American Pie. And like my aunt still leads a caroling troupe every holiday season all over the neighborhood. It's pretty amazing.
Awesome. Yeah.
Um, so I grew up like in choirs and in show choirs and in theater, and then I decided I wanted to sing solo. I was a harmony singer, and so I wanted to sing lead like every harmony singer ever does. And I auditioned for like the school variety show, and I sang to tracks,
Mhm.
um, and I didn't like it. And so I decided I wanted to accompany myself, and I asked everybody in the family, or I told everyone in the family that I wanted a guitar, and I asked everybody for gift cards to the music shop across the highway. Um, and then a family friend had an extra guitar and gave it to me for my birthday, and I used those gift cards to buy books to teach myself how to play.
Oh, cool. So you're pretty much self-taught.
Yeah, my dad said I can't afford lessons, but we can afford books, so we got books.
Well, that's pretty cool coming from a musical family. What were your influences outside of your family? Like what were you listening to at an early age?
So my dad and I are super tight, and he loves to listen to music, and generally it was whatever he had on. So anything from CSN to The Who, lots of Buffett, thrown in there as well. And then, I was a kid with a radio, so pop stations found their ways to me. And Maroon 5 was huge when I got my first stereo. So that was like some pop and like fun melody influences there. But I was a
Mm.
rock and roll kid for a long time. And then my dad took us to FYE one day and bought a bunch of country music CDs like Tim McGraw and Alan Jackson and things like that. And I was hooked. That was that.
Yeah, so I saw you play in Nashville earlier this year, and your dad was there at the show.
Yeah.
Uh, so I know he's got to be your biggest fan, but what was that like? When you told your dad, "I want to be a rock star." I imagine that's not an easy pill for a father to swallow. How did that go?
He took it a whole lot better than when I told him I had a crush on the drummers and stuff. But um, no, I love this story actually, and it inspired one of my favorite songs that I wrote with my friend Mike. But when I told my dad, "Hey, I wrote a song, come listen to it," and I like when he tells the story too, because his perspective is he was ready to tell me that maybe this isn't for me, and I told him that this is what I want to do. That I want. Well, he asked me. He said, "So you're serious about this?" I was like, "I really am." And he said, "It's going to be hard, but you can do it." And I think that's really freaking great because the first people I was writing music with, we don't write together anymore. Their parents were not that supportive.
Yeah, I know it's important to have family behind you, when you're first starting out. I know I did. They encouraged me. That encouragement is so important, to build your self-esteem and confidence, and that's awesome that you had that. Your latest album, Truck Driver's Daughter, that's obviously, an ovation, if you will, to your dad. It's easy to tell, but was that was that like a concept album from the beginning, or did you find that you just had a bunch of songs that had a common theme?
That was a concept album from the beginning. So I actually had the idea for that album back when I was still in college, and I started writing the first tune, "Daddy's Boots," all those years ago. I rewrote it several times since that version, but that's how old that concept is. And then one day I was in a writing session with Mike Cool, and Drop Dead Dangerous was still in the middle of producing Saguaro, our latest album. And I told him, because we're writing, we're always writing, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
And we were talking about our dads. His dad also very supportive. And so we're just talking about our dads. I was like, actually, one day I do want to put this album out called Truck Driver's Daughter. It's this idea that's been on the back burner, which is fine. And then when my dad retired from trucking is when I was like, I've got to do this, like it's time.
So, as speaking of songwriting, as a songwriter, do you have the perpetual list going on your phone of ideas and stuff, and that you try to marry, and you break out your phone and record melodies? I know that's what I do. Is that do you is that something you work on every day, or do you kind of depend on like when inspiration hits?
So inspiration hits all the time. And so having, a tool like the iPhone, open voice memos and put a little melody down, like you're saying. I know I talked to some writers that have been doing this for decades, and they used to leave themselves voicemails on their answering machines. And so I like this version. And yes, in my notes app, there is an app, rather a note that is so long with ideas, concepts, things I thought were funny or clever. I'm sure you have the same. And I pull from it often. Right now, I'm in the middle of writing another concept album, so a lot of my writing is very focused. And because I've been marinating these ideas for months, actually, my last drives to and from Knoxville over the weekend, I made several of those voice memos, like, "Oh, add this to that song," or "What if we change the melody?" or "What if I change the melody to this?" So yeah, my voice memos app is pretty bogged down right now with those ideas.
It's a great tool to have for sure. I saw that you're releasing audio from Nash sessions for the song Mile 364, and that song
Mhm.
is on Truck Driver's Daughter. But tell us about that song. Like, is it a true story? What's the story behind the song on that?
Yeah, I really love this one. So it's a particular mile mark, roadside memorial, and it is a real roadside memorial, and it is at mile 364 on I-40, just as the song explains. There is some storytelling, and like there's a line that says, "I see you every day." Like I don't see the memorial every day, but I see it often. I drive that stretch of interstate more than any other stretch of interstate. And the first time I saw it, it just really hit my heart. It's a cross with a reflective vest and a hard hat. And,
Mm.
my dad's a trucker and like the Department of Transportation, people in construction industry. Like I've been around it my whole life. And, these folks are just trying to go to work, and here's a memorial on the side of the road. And so it just really broke my heart. And I talked to my dad about it quite a bit, and for years I was like, I'm gonna write a song for this memorial. I'm gonna write a song for this. And like after 7 years of that, I finally came home one night from a tour, and it fell out of me. And I don't know who they were. I don't know if it was a man or a woman, if they left any family behind, if it was an accident during labor hours, or if it wasn't. I don't know. I don't know any of that, but I did feel inspired to write that story about a very real memorial.
I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that hit home with. I mean, that kind of calls back to the Three Wooden Crosses song, from Randy Travis. That's what I thought of. But a great song, great idea. I love the song. It's great.
Thank you.
So let's go back in time a little bit,
Yeah.
back up a little bit, and I have to tell you that I almost had to call and cancel this interview because I could not get signed into Google.
Oh,
I had all kind of problems signing into that and then signing into StreamYard. It was a, a list of calamities that happened. And then my ring light went out when I finally got it all up. So now my lighting is all kind of crazy. But anyway, if you're listening to this on audio at a later date, that doesn't matter. Uh,
exactly.
but let's go back in time a little bit. I want to talk about or ask you about, how you met Melanie Howe, and you two got together, and how you started playing together. By the way, there's a video of you two on YouTube. It was from Summer Solstice 2018. it was you two playing at summer solstice.
Yeah.
It's about 3 hour long video. I watched the whole thing.
Oh my.
Uh, it's a great video. If you two really have a chemistry together and sound great together. And I just wanted you to talk about that, how you met, and how did that evolved into Drop Dead Dangerous somehow. So you tell us about that.
Yeah. So, okay, let me get the abridged version here. So, I was playing with a couple of guys here in Nashville. I loosely, like, I was really young when I first met them, and so the band that we were in, I couldn't really gig in it because I couldn't play in any of the bars. I was, teenager. And then one of them auditioned for this band out of Knoxville that Melanie was a co-founder of, called Southern Drawl Band. And so then they went and played for them, and everybody, that was Dave Crow and JD Edge. And then Dave Crow and JD were like, hey, you need to meet this chick Melanie. And all the while, everybody else in the band was telling, or they were telling Melanie rather, that she needs to meet me. And that we would work great together. And so then I went and I sang with the guys, and then everybody was like, oh, you need to meet Melanie, and same to Mel, you need to meet Kitty. So this went on for a year and a half before we finally like crossed paths at a show. We were both hired on a show in Delaware. We both live in Tennessee, keep in mind. And what was really
Sounds
funny
like
is,
fate.
yeah, like, I reached out to her on social media in the meantime, but she was touring with several projects back then. Like, she was touring with Brittany Kingery and Mellegrass and Southern Drawl, and I'm sure I'm missing some. And so I remember thinking, like, oh my God, this woman works so hard and she's busting her butt and she's playing with all these acts, and I've got to work with her. And so I reached out to her, and she was like, hey, I'm actually really busy, but here's all my contacts for Knoxville, and if you get a gig, call me and I'll come out. And how awesome is that? Now, not only is she a hard worker, busted her butt, she's incredibly generous, and gave me all of this information to go to work, So that was really cool. And then when we did meet, again, she was super busy. So several months go by after that too, maybe even a whole nother year. And she calls me one day and she was like, hey, I need a guitar player for this happy hour gig I do at a dive bar in Knoxville. And I was like, I'm there. Totally. Like, I'm there. That was, this just came up, like, I was like August 7th of 2014 or something.
Oh wow.
And it went really well. It went really, really well. And then we did a couple more of those little dive bar gigs. And then in 2015, she called me, and the musician she was going to tour down to Meeting of the Minds with, when it was still in Key West, like forever, just 10 years ago, had to stay home. They couldn't do the tour. And she asked me if I wanted to take all the dates. And I said yes. And so we toured down to Meeting of the Minds 2015 together. And a good friend of ours named Rick Fusco, he and Mel were playing a couple of shows together the week before, just down in Key West, and he invited me to sit in on the show. And he said to the crowd, he goes, y'all, you're gonna love these two playing together. They are just drop dead dangerous. And we had a band name, and that was
Wow,
that.
that's awesome.
That was 10 years ago.
That's cool when you don't have to, come up with a band name. It just fell out and fit you guys.
Yeah, we were like, man, that's really funny, because everybody expected him to say gorgeous. And
Right.
as a woman, to be credited with anything because you're pretty, like, while it's nice to be called pretty, it's like a discount to everything else that you bring to the table. And so changing it out for the word dangerous, when Rick did that, like, I don't even think he knows the weight of what he just did, you know what I mean? And we loved it, and still do.
That's awesome. I love the Drop Dead Dangerous live album, by the way.
That was
I
an
listened to it.
experience, man.
Yeah, tell us about, like, where was that recorded? How did that come about?
So that actually came through. There's this character named Sam Densler down in Punta Gorda, and he does Songwriters Island Radio, and he's very involved in the independent music scene of trop rock, especially. And he told us about Spirit Ranch Studios in Florida, like Katie in the swamp, Sarasota. And this man, Bud Snyder, was doing the engineering, and he has fantastic engineering history with the Southern rock community. So, like, like your Allman Brothers, Tedeschi Trucks, like that type of thing, which is like right up my alley.
Mhm.
And so we went out to the property. Of course, the property's gorgeous, and they show us this like house that's been converted into a studio. And like a lot of folks have done this, but I've not seen one done this well before. So like they put in like the control room with like the plexiglass so you can see the engineer, but then like that also looks out to like this big room that has a stage and audience seating. And so they were showing us how it could be used as a live audience studio. And they also were showing us how it could be used for like a large live recording studio, like without the crowd.
Hmm.
Which, full disclosure, we intended to do the second album that way, and then they sold the property, and the new owners didn't want to keep the studio. But
Hmm.
we're for Drop Dead Live because we also had just started. Like, to be totally honest, we had no money. Like, we were a startup. We had nothing. And we
Right.
are like, well, we need to record, but we can't afford to record. And we're like, well, if we sell enough tickets to the session, we can pay the engineer. And it was the coolest experience. We did 3 performances, 2 of which had the live audience. We did one no audience, but still same, like you get a take. So then at the end of that, the 4 of us listened as a band. It was me, Melanie, JD, and Paul listened as a band and voted on which take to actually put onto the album for each individual song. And that was really, that was something. That was something.
It sounds great. I really like that album. So, and this is might be an oddball question, but and and in my experience, this kind of goes one way or the other, and I don't mean it to sound sexist, but I think that I get a certain answer out of guys, and then I get a certain answer out of girls for this question.
I'm intrigued.
Do you have a favorite guitar and why?
I do. I do. So I have like 5 or 6 guitars. But I have one that I've been playing at every gig for the last 2+ years, and she's my favorite. So it's Cole Clark. It's Blackwood Cole Clark. They're an Australian company. They're small.
Hmm.
They make gorgeous guitars. Their slogan is "Made different to sound different," and they do. Um, I love it for so many reasons. I love it because it's pretty. I love it because it sounds wonderful. I love it because sound people love it. It's meant
Hmm.
to be plugged in. It's meant to be plugged in, and then you just go, and it works like every time. Um, I love that. I love that guitar. I also have a Martin that I love, but I broke it.
Oh,
um, and I'll get it fixed one of these days. But yeah, I'm crazy about my Cole Clark.
I've played a few of them. They sound really great. What kind of music do you listen to outside of trop rock? And I know you're not specifically a trop rock artist, uh, but who are you digging on right now? Like, who's somebody you're into?
Huh. In the last week, I have listened, or not even week, weekend, like when I was driving, I listened to a lot of John Mayer in the mornings.
Mm.
Like, if I don't want my brain to wake up right away, I'll throw John Mayer on. It's just nice, easy. Um, this morning, to get like excited for a photo shoot, I put on a Jason Mraz album. Um, but I love Tedeschi Trucks Band, and I also listen to Carrie Welling's albums like pretty frequently.
Oh,
I
yeah,
think they're solid and I love them. Um,
absolutely.
but I listened to Cody Johnson put out the second half of his deluxe album Leather, and I listened to that the other day as well. I thought it was great. But that was, I mean, purely to like to check it out, listen to it for the first time. And but I do enjoy Cody's voice and his writing. I think it's really solid. So yeah, I don't know if that really answered your question.
Sure, yeah, sure did. So do you have any new music coming up you want to tell us about?
I do. So excited.
Tell us.
So I did a part-time residency in Margaritaville, Key West this year. So in June, I did, well, really February through June, I did 2 weeks a month at Margaritaville. And it was wonderful. It was awesome. It was a lot of things. And I knew going into it that it would be nice if I could write at least like an EP amount of tunes either about my time there or inspired by my time there. And it's going to be a full length album. So
Awesome.
I'm I'm keeping it as local to Key West as I can. I'm going to record, or at least like the Keys. I'm going to record at an independent studio marathon. I'm hiring all Key West musicians to play on it. I am trying to commission a street artist to do the album artwork. I'm
Oh,
doing a recording party at Margaritaville. which those tickets just went on sale the other day. And I'm stoked about it. So it's like everybody come to Margaritaville. I'm covering appetizers for everybody and the first drink for everybody, and we're gonna record the album and then a few bonus tracks, and then hopefully I'm able to use some of that as bonus tracks on the actual album too. So it'll be studio recordings and live recordings because I'm a fan of live recordings and live performances. So that is to be released next spring as a trop rock album.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Is that something separate? I saw on your Facebook page you were doing some type of live recording at the at recording party at the Orchid or something in Key West. Is that something different?
No, so the album is called The Orchid.
Oh,
That is the title of the album, but it's at Margaritaville.
got you, got you,
Yeah,
got
so
you.
it's The Orchid by Kitty Steadman recording party is the way it's listed, and then at the bottom you'll see Margaritaville, December 13th, 8 p.m.
Okay, see, I didn't read it too carefully. I'm glad I asked you about that.
That's okay. I'm glad you did too. Yeah, so it's called The Orchid. It's a title track. One of my favorite songs I've probably ever written, honestly, and I wrote it right on my friend's balcony. They had an orchid planted into a palm tree, which is really often common, rather. And I just started singing, and it came out, and I was like, "Oh man, I really like this one." So it's the title track.
Cool. Well, tell us where you're going to be coming up. I know you got some local shows here in or in around Tennessee. You're going to be doing some house
Yeah,
concerts. Just give us a shout out where you're going to be.
yeah. So as far as in Tennessee, I'm in Knoxville this Friday, the 25th, and then you mentioned August 1st at Mike Todd's. I'm really stoked about rooftop house concert downtown. I think that's going to be awesome. Um, and then September 14th, I am playing at the City Winery with Brendan Mayer and Carrie Welly in the lounge. So it's limited tickets available. There are several right now. I just asked for a ticket count the other day. So y'all go buy your tickets. And then the next day we can all go see. Did you say Will Kimbrough is in town on the 15th of September?
It was September 15th.
Yeah, perfect. So we can all go see him then the next day.
Yeah.
And I know there's more. I'm doing a few shows in Knoxville this year at Naughty Case. I have this Friday, next Thursday, and then of course next Friday the 1st at Mike Todd, September 14th at the City Winery, and September 19th at Naughty Case as well. And then I'm down on the, in Florida for Drop Dead Beach Bash, which get your tickets for that too, y'all. Drop Dead Beach Bash the end of September, and then I do a West. My tour out west in the desert, and then it's Meeting the Minds time.
Yeah. So where can people find you? Where are you most active if they want to go check you out and check out your schedule and get in contact with you?
Yeah, I probably post the most on Instagram and Facebook. I'm working on the TikTok thing, y'all. Be patient. But my shows are all listed on my website. I prefer to just use something I have full control over. I'm trying to sync it with external sites, but if you want the information, come to kittystedmanmusic.com/shows. That's where you get the show details.
All right, guys. Well, you heard it there. Please, I always encourage my listeners to go support our artists, go check out their music, buy their music, stream it, rent it, whatever you do. Go check them out. Go see them live if you get a chance, and just support them in any way you can. Kitty, thank you so much for joining me tonight.
Thank you for having me on the show. I really appreciate it.
All right. I'll talk to you later.
All right, bye.
Thank y'all for joining Music City Trop Rock.